Hey guys, Crafty Steve back here with another video, and today we have a little bit of a different review to our usual format. This one is going to be based a little bit more on discussion than anything else, as the Borsig is a tank that invoked a lot of discussion, particularly with its release as to how it would fit into the game. The line that the Borsig in usually suffers from a lack of armor, but overall very good DPM as well as very high caliber guns. So yeah, let's have a look at the Borsig here in the tech tree. You'll notice at the very start of this review that I don't actually own myself a Borsig. So yeah, I would not have been able to make a review on this tank if it wasn't for my good friend WhatBFL350, who has kindly donated us 3 replays on the Borsig using all of the guns on this, both of the top guns, should I say, on this tank. So this should give us a fairly rough idea on how this tank has survived the jump from PC to Blitz. And yeah, so the Borsig line was released 2 weeks ago. I think now it was released 2 weeks and 1 day ago. Correct, it was the Wednesday 2 weeks ago. Awesome. There was quite a lot of speculation when the Borsig line was first released on how all of these tanks would actually fit into the game, because all the tanks from the PZSFL Fear to the Gorilla 15 have no armor whatsoever. They have about the equivalent of maybe a Martyr 2, Pars Jenga if we're lucky. Pars Jenga. Sorry, that's just how I pronounce it. Don't blame me for getting this wrong, guys. I'm trying my best. But yeah, none of this line really has any armor to speak of, so it relies on hiding in bushes for the most part and sniping from long range. However, in Blitz, you can't really do that much, and thus many people speculated that the German TDs would not fit in very well because, well, if you don't really have anywhere to snipe from long distance from, how can the tanks be anywhat good? But as it turns out, these TDs have fit more into the game than I expected. I, like most of the community, thought that these tanks were a bit out of place, particularly since most of the games nowadays in World of Tanks Blitz often involve several brawls and were more centered towards medium tanks than anything else. But as we can see, the Borsig, and I would assume the rest of the line, doesn't actually do too bad. If we look at the guns on the Borsig, you can immediately start to see that their DPM is actually not that bad. It's actually really good. The Rheinmetall Borsig, we have to keep in mind, is a tier 8 tank destroyer. It does 4.29 rounds per minute for 460 alpha damage. I believe the Tiger at tier 9 only gets 1 extra round of minute rate of fire. So this is not too bad. But when we look at the 15 centimeter pack L29.5, we see that this gun has 640 alpha damage, like most of the tier 10 tank destroyers. But when we look at the DPM for a tier 8 tank wielding a tier 10 tank destroyer gun, you can see it does 3.53 rounds per minute, which is crazy. This is only 0.4 worse than the T110E4, a tier 10 tank destroyer. This thing has got ridiculously good DPM for its tier, at least with the kind of 640 alpha damage gun is wielding. However, it suffers, should I say. It suffers in terms of penetration on its AP rounds, but its high explosive anti-tank rounds, on the other hand, will do you the job at 334 millimeters of heat penetration. It does suffer from pretty bad accuracy though. This may be a German tank, but when you wield a tier 10 tank destroyer gun on a tier 8 tank, you're always going to get pretty terrible accuracy. However, its aim time is not that bad at 2.7. There's even tank destroyers at tier 10 that do worse than that. The FV-183 I think is the main example. But yeah, the Borsig doesn't really have that much other benefits, I guess. Strong suits. It's not that strong in many areas apart from the gun. But it is also important to keep in mind that this thing has a very good camo because it is quite low profile as well as being a tank destroyer, because tank destroyers get the best coefficient for camouflage. But apart from that, look at its engine power. It's 207 horsepower, and let's check here. It weighs 20 tons, so that's rather pathetic 10 horsepower per ton. And as you can see, it has a tier 5 engine. Even though it suffers in armor, its maneuverability is not overly impressive, albeit not as bad as some of the tier 8, as some of the other German tank destroyers, particularly the Jagdpanzer E100 line. But yeah, the Rheinmetall Borsig, due to its relatively high, particularly on the 15 centimeter gun, its rather decent rate of fire has enabled it to come into the game at a rather decent spot. It may have no armor, but 3.53 rounds a minute, three and a half 640 alpha damage rounds per minute is really, really good, which means this thing can actually do not too bad. You can be able to stand behind a bush, get good shots in, and still be able to reload in time to potentially even put a second one in. Also, the 640 alpha damage on the 15 centimeter means that it can, well, trade shots decently well, although its armor is poor, so you want to try to avoid trading shots. I think this tank would be much, much, much worse if, say, for example, it was only 3 rounds a minute rate of fire. But the DPM has enabled the Borsig to survive in a game where medium tanks, particularly like the one I'm showing here, the T-50, are thriving. So without further ado, I don't want you guys to listen to my rant for much longer, so I am just going to get stuck straight into the gameplays that our good friend WhatBFL350 has sent in. For the first game here that WhatBFL350 has sent in, we are on Vineyards. As you can see in this gameplay, he is carrying the 15 centimeter gun as opposed to the 12.8 centimeter. I think in the other two replays he ends up using the 128, but in this replay we can get a sense as to how the 15 centimeter works with this machine. I'm honestly not too sure which gun is better on this tank. I'm kind of slightly leaning towards the 15 centimeter because I prefer the alpha damage on the gun. It makes it easier and more effective to trade shots, even though you don't really want to be doing that in this tank, but you're gonna have to brawl eventually in this thing, particularly due to the nature of Blitz. It's getting shunted here by an Object 704, so he decides to leave that bush position. As you can see here, he's loaded up the heat rounds because the AP rounds only have 215 millimeters of penetration. He's aiming up a shot. A speculative shot at that, but you may as well fire a shot like that when there's no other targets in sight. It misses and we move on. I think he's looking at hitting this IS-3 here, but the gun depression is making him pay. I think the Borsig gets like 5 degrees of gun depression. It's not very good. One straight into the side of the IS-6, a low roll however at 577, which is rather disappointing. But you'll notice there he did not get spotted. This thing has very good camouflage, and oh my god, I don't think I've ever seen that before. 2 low rolls in a row. I mean, not 2 low rolls. Those 2 shots did the exact same alpha damage for both shells. Now that is something I've never seen before. He now moves into a position to put some shots into the sides of these heavy tanks as they appear to be moving along the bridge area of the map, but he gets surprised by an IS-3. He turns around to make a nice shot into him. Oh, he's getting pretty unlucky this game. 3 low rolls already. He's not being particularly lucky, but come on, is his luck going to get better with this shot? Surely. 600 or something. Oh, I think that was not very much damage, as I think the Object 704 fired before him. It almost looked like he did the 700 damage there, but I think he only ended up doing about 200. Aiming up a shot on the Conqueror. Will he wander out? Yes, he will. And bang, that's a headshot. 600 damage there. More and more towards the total, which I think right now is looking at probably about 2,500, which is pretty good. As you can see, his platoon mate also in a Borsig gets absolutely slammed down by high explosive shells. He makes a mistake here, coming out too confidently, doesn't realize that the IS-6's gun is actually at the perfect position. You can see the corpse over there blocked the shell that he fired and stopped the other IS-6 from dying. However, he gets a second chance and he finishes him off. His platoon mate also puts a shell in which rolls incredibly high at 727 points. Misses out on the top gun by about a quarter of a second, but we are not complaining. A rather good game this first one was, giving you a good idea on how the 15cm gun on this thing works. He did 2,600 damage, which is not bad, getting a 2nd class badge. The second game that we have from What Be FL350 today is on Castilla, and I think he's again with his same platoon mate, what is that, OP Mayonnaise from the EHR clan. Actually, not OP, it's QP. My bad on that one. In this replay you can see he is using the 12.8cm gun this time. So no more slapping with heat rounds for 640 average damage. This one is going to be some nice, hopefully relaxing sniping, as the 128mm gun does much better when sniping than what the 15cm does. As the 15cm, it's much better to trade. Well, okay, it's not much better. You really never want to trade shots in a Borsig, but when you have to trade shots in the Borsig, the 15cm is much better for it, as you get that tier 10 tank destroyer alpha damage, which kind of makes up for the fact that most of the time when you trade a shot, you'll take damage, and sometimes even have penetrating high explosive shells. Doesn't look like he's all too interested in sniping up at the back, however, and is taking sort of an aggressive spotting location, I'd say. He goes up there to spot some of the enemy tanks, and he gets a heat round thrown at him. What? A heat round? Oh, really? That's bizarre. I would have thought it'd be much better from the enemy to fire a high explosive round at his thin armor. accurate shot into the Panther 2 there, and also another accurate shot coming from the Panther. Oh, and look, the Panther, Peanuts Gaming. I think I know that guy. Wow, I did not even see that last time I watched this replay. That's quite funny, actually. Anyways, Peanuts Gaming, if you are watching this video, shout out to you, my friend. Good job there. Unfortunate you got killed quite so early. Better luck next time. But as you can see so far, the Borsig is actually not doing too bad in terms of accuracy. I think on the 12.8 centimeter you get 0.35 accuracy, I think. I'm not too sure. And the aim time looks to be fairly solid, which means that the 12.8 centimeter gun is much better for long range sniping. Another accurate shot there into the side of the SDA-1, another low roll, but I'm sure it's not that bad. Aiming up on a Jagdpanther 2, he can finish him here too if he's lucky. Yes. Flawless shot straight into the side armor of the Jagdpanther 2, finishing him off. Now, what BFL 350 here is going to show us, hopefully, how to use high explosive rounds against enemy Borsigs, unlike what I think it was that Panther 2 at the start of the game did against him when he fired heat at the Borsig. Just so you know, heat is a very bad idea against a Borsig because ironically it is more likely to bounce than penetrate. So if you see a Borsig, fire a high explosive round if you know you can pen him, but if you're in like, I don't know, the tier 5 tank, for whatever reason you're doing with tier 8s, just fire AP. Don't fire your gold rounds if they're heat, because they are very, 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 not very likely to bounce, should I say, but a lot more likely to bounce than your AP rounds, because the Borsig has some, what's it called? Oh, I've forgotten the name, stupid me. And look at that. That, I think, was a high explosive round from the 15 centimeter gun on the enemy Borsig. Ouch. So see, that's why, for the most part, you should avoid trading shots with any other tank in a Borsig whatsoever, because stuff like that will happen to you. Now, I actually lied here. I have not watched this replay before, so I did completely not see that coming. I didn't see it coming whatsoever. IS-3 makes a smart move, decides to go for a flanking maneuver. But the Borsig on the enemy team sees this coming and fires a shot straight into him. Ooh, not OP, QP mayonnaise. Is he going to be able to put a shot in? If he hides behind this building, he should be safe from the Rheinmetall Borsig's HE round. OP mayonnaise gets sick of waiting. I'm just going to call him OP mayonnaise now. And fires presumably an AP shell through the building to finish him off. Another rather good game here, again showing the strengths of the Borsig and its 12.8 centimeter gun. 2,000 damage in that one, I think 3k for QP mayonnaise. Another great game. And we are on Fort Despair for the last game in this review. What BFL 350 is back with QP mayonnaise. I think he had it almost looks like he had these 3 games in a row, because he's with the same platoon mate every single time. And now they're going to drive along beside each other and show you the key differences between the guns. Look at the 12.8 centimeter on the left and QP mayonnaise carrying the 15 centimeter on the right. You can see that the 15 centimeter is quite shorter barrel, which usually means it's less accurate. And you have the quite long barrel of the Borsig's 12.8 centimeter gun from what be FL350 on the left. Clutch shot misses the FCM50T. I don't really think he was expecting to hit that. Just fire a quick shot off and hope, I guess, sort of something like that. Which, with the accuracy of this gun, is probably not too unlikely, if we're to be honest. Unfortunate bounce off the side of the Object 704 there. The Object 704 has sides that will make absolutely anything bounce. So, as with most Russian tanks, it's sort of like the ISU-152 in a way. It just bounced shots that it really just shouldn't. However, I think that shot there should have bounced. It was at a 45-degree angle with all the skirting plates and all that sort of stuff around there. Quite unlikely to pen. Nice shot into the side of the IES-3's turret, slightly above average at 473. He's aiming up a shot now on the Centurion 7-1. He's ready to go in another 12.8 seconds only. A nice shot traded there, showing you how you can use auto-aim to trade shots in the Borsig. Particularly if you're playing on PC, this could become quite useful. With the 15cm gun in particular, the auto-aim on PC is the right-click. So you right-click on your mouse and it aims for the exact center of the tank. Today we also have, in this replay, a feature from Erwin Rommel. I think I met him in a DW platoon, something like that, in another game. I might be confusing this guy actually, because he's in, what is that, Z clan? I thought he was in DH or whatever. Never mind me and my bad recognizing skills. He's lost track of the Jagdtiger. He doesn't know where he is here. He's got to be careful, because if the Jagdtiger is smart enough to fire high explosive, then he could take some hell of a beating from just one shell. I think the Jagdtiger with its high explosive shell does 640 damage, which would leave him on only 200 health. Particularly from the last replay, you got to see how quickly the health points of the Borsig can be evaporated. With just one shot, he lost 90% of his hit points. Nice shot into the lower plate there. Again, another low roll. He's been quite unlucky in these couple of games, actually. Most of the shots he's taken have been low rolls. And there's a high roll to make up for it. Not quite something like a 500 roll that he would perhaps be looking for, but he will take a high roll any day of the week. Loading up the post-game stats here, we can see he did 2,716 damage, and his platoon mate doing 2,900. So once again, thank you very much to WhatBFL350 for sending your replays in, as it made this review possible. I wanted to do a review for the Borsig after it came out, but I knew I would not have the replays to do it, and thanks to you, I can at least construct a little bit of a review which can give players who are thinking of grinding up this line an idea about how to play this line, as well as tips for managing your lack of armor better. So thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, and why not even subscribe? That way you'll never miss one of my videos. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you guys next time.